It was business as usual at Newcastle Council today for men and women workers. However, things will soon be different when a new management plan begins. The plan is expected to be approved soon as a response to the survey.
It's certainly an indictment if we accept it. That's the real problem. We can't go on accepting it any longer, and local government has a real role to play in terms of its leadership in the community to being the one out in front doing something about it.
Some of the more startling facts to come out of the survey include about 30% of female workers claim they had been sexually harassed. Although women make up 41% of the working population in Newcastle, they comprise only 29% of workers at council. The Equal Employment Opportunity Survey was made compulsory under the new Local Government Act. Councillor Sutton believes many more councils will have similar results from their surveys.
I think the survey does paint a picture of entrenched discrimination in the council, especially in relation to women, and obviously we've got to be concerned about that. I don't think that the results would be any different in any other council. I think you'll find that Newcastle is quite typical of local government right throughout Australia.
"19-year-old Shane Riley was recaptured by police on Wednesday. He'd been on the run for a month since escaping from St Heliers Corrective Centre at Muswellbrook. His wife Cynthia today spoke of the trauma she and her 3 daughters have been through since Shane was first jailed 10 months ago for car stealing and break and enter offences. While she doesn't condone his actions, Cynthia believes the corrective system has worsened his life to the point where he only wants to die.
He's a mess. He's very scared. He's frightened of going out into the general area of the jail, and he doesn't know where he's going to go from here, and really he's suicidal.
Cynthia believes Shane had just 2 options in the last hours he was in jail: either commit suicide and become yet another Aboriginal death in custody, or flee from the prison.
He escaped because he was attacked by approximately 6 other males and raped, and then given 3 hours to get out of the jail or he would be dead.
Cynthia has spoken to Shane many times during the last few days while he's been in solitary confinement in Maitland Jail, awaiting a court appearance on Tuesday. She says he's scared, believing he has nowhere to turn because the system just doesn't offer him or his family support.
The system has taught him how to be a better criminal, because that's what you learn in there. Apart from that, I don't think anything really.
How has it treated him though?
Not very good. He has been assaulted, bashed in Parklea, moved from jail to jail in 10 months. Just hasn't done anything for him.
The wagons toppled off the tracks just before dawn about 4 kilometres north of Denman on the line to the Yulin mine. The loco was hauling 63 empty wagons to Yulin to pick up coal. 8 of those wagons went off the rails. State rail workers have been on the scene all day cutting away the damaged wagons and trying to work out what went wrong. Late this evening, it is still a mystery. The line will be closed at least until tomorrow night as the clean-up continues. No passenger services are affected, only freight rail coal trains hauling out of Yulin. A level crossing was blocked for more than 8 hours, forcing some traffic to be diverted. All roads are open tonight. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
As the first faint glimmer of dawn appeared in the eastern sky, 200 marchers left the old Port Macquarie RSL, led by Lieutenant Mark Hill and the visiting crew from HMAS Rushcutter, along with a contingent from the RAF base at Williamtown. The procession, including ex-servicemen, schoolchildren and scouts, wound its way to the War Memorial on the town green, where another 300 people were waiting to take part in the dawn service. The address was given by the president of the Port Macquarie sub-branch of the RSL, Bob Hanlon, before the bugler sounded the last post and the flag was lowered to half-mast. Later in the morning, a large Anzac Day march was held at nearby Wauchope, led by cars carrying ex-servicemen now too frail for the procession up Cameron Street to the cenotaph in High Street. The Hastings Pipe Band provided the marching music. Wreaths were laid by schoolchildren, legacy and war widows, among others, and right on 11 o'clock, Rod Hall performed his traditional fly-past, wheels down and landing lights on, depicting a bomber coming home from a mission. Prayers were offered by Presbyterian Minister Wayne Weatherspoon before the children themselves conducted a service to commemorate the fallen in all wars. The Sharks' win was set up by a strong start to the match played at Wingham, with front rower Mark Temple and halfback Gary Nosworthy going over the line within the first 10 minutes. Wingham retaliated soon after when Paul Dawson scored, but Port Macquarie was unfazed and replied when 5/8 Paul Ganeri and centre Darryl Stout combined to send fullback Adam Francis over, the conversion making it 16-6. Dawson notched up the Tigers' second try, but two more from the Sharks before half-time made it 26-10 at the break and gave Wingham little chance of achieving an upset. The second half saw a quick seal put on the match when Temple eluded two defenders in a 30-metre run to score again. One more try to Wingham made the final score 30-16. In the other Group 3 match, a try-feast at Wauchope saw the home side defeat South Taree 54-32. Foster Tuncurry had the bye.
It was a thrill for the schoolboys today, not only representing their regions but also playing on the hallowed grounds at Marathon Stadium. In a tight tussle in the opens, Hunter in the blue and gold scored early after forward David Beggs ran off a good pass. But North Coast didn't take long to return the favour, with Fuller taking a spilt bomb and going over. It was a seesawing battle. Hunter then hit back after another mistake. But then one of the tries of the season. A swift passing movement along the back line saw magic timing and then a magic step from Crabtree, and North Coast was back in front. The final score, Hunter 26, North Coast 22. Selectors have named a northern squad for the state trials. 11 of the 17 selected are from the North Coast. The trials are on in 3 weeks. Earlier today in the under-15 clash, Hunter was too strong for North Coast, winning 42 points to 14. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
In a real-life drama, speed and safety are essential for bushfire brigades. Today, those skills were put to the test during the Hunter Zone Championships.
They're all keen, they're all eager, and they've won their way to here through their local championships.
20 teams from Port Macquarie to Lake Macquarie took part in the 5-event competition, a challenge which hones each member's firefighting skills. They must show their ability to cut through obstacles preventing access to fires, show how fast they can set up their equipment and extinguish a fire.
They are timed, every team is timed, and they're penalised if they make mistakes.
Because safety is so important, penalties are incurred for dangerous shortcuts. The winning team and runner-up will compete at the state titles in Coffs Harbour in July. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
It flooded streets, it turned a soccer field into a pool, but the rain couldn't dampen the spirits of these senior citizens. Age won't weary them, and the weather doesn't worry them. They've come from all over the state to play in the National Park Club's carnival in Newcastle, and nothing was going to stop them. Do you think people might think you're a bit crazy out in this weather?
Oh, I'm sure they would. But we're stalwart senior citizens.
Pat Love is the president of the National Park Croquet Club, and to say she's enthusiastic about the sport is to call Don Bradman just another batsman. But even the mighty Don would have had trouble wielding the mallet in these conditions. But why are they playing?
What, to go through hoops?
Why in this weather?
Croquet is an all-weather game.
The basic aim of the game is to get your ball through a set of hoops, picking up pegs along the way, then doing the same thing backwards until you have all the pegs.
Not only thinking of where your balls are going, the closest I can describe it is a game of chess on a lawn, in that you are thinking what's happening to your opponent, how he or she is going to attack you, how you can put him or her at a disadvantage.
It used to be as popular as tennis, but Pat tells me that game went commercial and lost all its credibility. But croquet's making a comeback, and who knows, it may return to the glory days it once enjoyed.
I don't know whether we'll make the Olympics, but bowls has, I suppose.
Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
Thieves smashed a side window, breaking into the Curry Bowling Club at around 2 o'clock this morning. The alarm was set off, but within a few minutes, the change machine was emptied and 18 poker machines were cleaned out. More than $3,500 was stolen. It's the third raid on the club in 18 months.
As of tonight, we empty all our dollar machines. They're only interested in the dollar machines, so.
Police have warned all clubs to lock away the night's takings. The poker machines seem to be easy pickings for professional thieves. There have been a spate of club robberies, including this one captured on a security camera at Hexham early on Monday morning. Detectives are investigating the possibility that some of the raids may be linked.
We're looking at that there is some similarities with the Hexham Bowling Club, as well as a number of other bowling clubs that have been done in the area. It appears there is a group of people working the entire Hunter Valley.
Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Since dumping its recycling contractor in January, Council has taken over the service, but escalating costs have forced it to look for alternatives. Added to that, local councils have to introduce a domestic waste management charge from July.
All local government now has to clearly show on their rate notice their cost for managing the waste stream in their area. So it's shown as a separate charge.
Council is considering three options: a basic garbage collection charge of around $95, added to that a contracted weekly recycling rate at around $110, and a full council-operated service totalling $125.
I believe that the community really wants recycling, and I think we need to pursue that. But the budget will be on display for 28 days, then it will go to Council for adoption in its final form, and all that's got to be done by the end of June.
Meanwhile, the City Centre Committee has endorsed the final version of its controversial budget now before Council. Inner city property owners will pay an 82% increase in their benefit rate to be spent on marketing projects. According to committee member Rose Cogger, who wants the city centre body restructured, there are now 95 empty buildings along the CBD because businesses can't afford the existing rates.
There's already $210,000 spent on marketing. The budget is going up by $120,000, and I don't think the rate should increase at this time.
Melinda Smith, NBN News.
Your neck's a bit stuck there, I think.
It may look like a new method of discipline, but it's only one of many magical scientific demonstrations on display at Broadmeadow High.
Well, here we've got a model of a Fresnel lens, which was developed by a fellow called the name of Augustine Fresnel, who developed this for lighthouses, for trying to remove the need of very thick, very heavy glass lenses. This is a tornado tube. It's a connection that allows us to connect two plastic drink bottles together and to set up a miniature whirlpool or tornado within the bottle. It also demonstrates the quickest way to empty any sort of container. Well, we call this the funny funnel. It consists of a funnel with a piece of tubing connected to it, with a ping pong ball just resting in the funnel. And the object of the puzzle is to try and blow the ping pong ball out, which is an impossibility.
A scientific fact that may be, but you can't blame someone with plenty of hot air to spare from trying.
I like your roundabouts. We don't have these in America.
Jack Winland is a man with a mission and a message.
I don't think we should run around gossiping or should run around tattling on everybody, but I think we need to be aware of situations, and I think we need more training to teach people what abuse is and what to look for.
Since arriving in Australia 3 months ago, the former hospital chaplain has travelled the countryside talking to groups about child abuse in all its forms.
Verbal abuse, telling a child you wish they'd never been born, or putting a child down, that's abuse because it interferes with that child's self-esteem and development. So there's all kinds of abuse.
Last year, an estimated 55,000 Australian children were abused. Jack believes awareness can help reduce that number. And while the 60-year-old has already covered around 3,000 kilometres on his trusty bike, both will be heading north before returning to the United States in June.
Well, you know, you talk to it occasionally. It kind of becomes a part of your family. I don't like to go places without it. Actually, it's the center of attention more than I am. The children love it. You know.
Thieves broke into the Hexham Bowling Club at around 2:30 this morning, but unlike Monday when they fled with thousands of dollars in $1 coins, they escaped with nothing overnight. After smashing their way through the main door, they were obviously surprised to find the poker machine bins empty.
What had happened was that after the first strike on Monday, I decided to take all the cash boxes out at night and store them in our strong room, so that, we've got nothing for them to take.
The bandits were in such a hurry to leave the club, they left behind this sack splattered with blood. It's believed one of the men was cut by glass during the Monday break-in, which was captured on security video. It's the fourth time the club has been broken into this year. Also hit last night the Mayfield Waratah RSL. But it was a similar scenario. The club also now removes all coins from the poker machines. So serious has the situation become that the region's 6 major security firms have formed an association to tackle the problem head-on. In the last 6 months, it's estimated there have been around 50 club break-ins.
As a group of people and companies, we've got a lot of resources, a lot of patrol cars on the road, a very large two-way network, and we're utilising, and we have an arrangement where we utilise each other's patrol vehicles to help us get to the scene of an alarm as quickly as possible.
Jodie McKay, NBN News.
The Mayor's wish to keep today's special council meeting a public one received little support, with 3 of the councillors elected on an open government promise voting to keep ratepayers out. Inside, the atmosphere was less than friendly as the 12-member council argued for 6 hours over a confidential notice of motion. Controversy has surrounded the recent appointment of 4 new senior directors by Great Lakes General Manager John Fitzpatrick. The new appointments included 2 incumbents, but left 2 others, Council's former Health and Building Director as well as its Planning Chief, out in the cold. The issue has sparked a government inquiry and split Council. The General Manager's action supported by the Mayor and only 4 others. The meeting over, Mayor Machin emerged disgusted and exhausted. It's believed the discussion of possible compensation payments resulted in an overwhelming vote to seek legal advice.
To think that I am heading up a council that just can't understand the new act that is clearly laid down by the Minister, who says that the General Manager shall appoint all senior staff and dismiss all senior staff, and that councillors set policy, but in this council, if our mate doesn't get the job, then we've got to play politics, and I just can't go along with that at all.
The 2 long-standing senior officers who weren't reinstated are also seeking legal advice in the industrial courts. Melinda Smith, NBN News.
There were 2 Falcons training at Newcastle Entertainment Centre today who were putting that extra bit of energy into everything they did. Guard Tony Jensen and centre Paul Simpson both played with Townsville last year and are champing at the bit to meet their old teammates tomorrow night.
I'm looking forward to it. I always like playing with the old sides, but I'm going to come out firing.
Coach Tom Wiseman hopes that extra incentive will keep his team moving up the NBL ladder. After losing their first 3 games, the Falcons turned it around last weekend with a victory over the Geelong Supercats.
We're favoured to win, and it's a ball game that we have to win because it's a team that we're expected to finish higher than, and we're playing them on our home court. So those are the kind of games that you have to make sure you take care of.
The Falcons will be missing exciting forward Grant Cougar, who is still out after receiving 5 stitches to his knee during the Geelong match. Tomorrow night's game at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre is also expected to be physical.
There's probably a few jokes and a few elbows go in, probably from me and then when our coach isn't looking.